Okay, I have to share with the world what I know about the sacrifices. Sorry, I've got so many things going on at once in my head, but because somebody wrote to me, I have to put this down. Sacrifices. Why are they there? I'm not into it. I don't want to kill anything. I actually save the bugs all the time. Scorpions, I use them for good. They've blessed me so much. Um, I use them for pain on my joints. So why did he create a sacrifice system? I'll tell you why. All of creation, since the Big Bang, and there was a Big Bang, I can share with you, it all is created like mitosis too. It all comes down to a big explosion of light that creates things that makes the one two. And that's what he did. And he made you. Individuals we are. But in the end, we'll come back together again because the Big Bang will go in reverse. What was fission will now become fusion. What was expanding will now contract to become the eighth day, a day that never will go away. But why did we have to have sacrifices? This is what he shares with me. All of creation is him. It was all created in his imagination, in his image too. All of it, the animals, everything. Okay? So, the way to show that he loves his people, the only way he can show how he loves us is by literally shedding his own lifeblood to cover the earth, to go into the earth, to actually bring something here. So what the sacrifices were, and this took me a long time. I mean, I did something he asked me to do, and everybody, I didn't have one person that was really with me. Actually, one person came that day and saw the glory that came into my house after doing Passover. But everybody told me I was going to piss him off, just like you. I know you were offended by these things. And I'll tell you, you shouldn't be. Because it's all him. So, he asked me if I would do the Passover Lamb at my house. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. It actually came from another prophet. He said, are you going to go to Costco and get a lamb? Or are you going to do the real thing? I'm like, I don't know what you mean by real thing, but I guess I'm going to Costco to get a lamb. And then Abba pressured me and pressured me and pressured me. See, he wants us to do things we don't want to do. And that was literally a test, like Abraham. I said, if you want me to do such a thing, I will. I'll get the lamb, but I'm really hoping that you won't make me actually kill this lamb. Put it in my hands and slaughter it. And so I did. Got this lamb and put it in my backyard in a suburban living. And the day came. And he's like, yeah, I want you to do it. The time came. I was hoping all day. I'm like, please, send me something else. It was Yeshua, wasn't it? Well, you're testing me. I get it. I'm getting the lamb. And he's like, no, I want you to do it. So I said to him, please make it a willing lamb. Don't make me chase this lamb and kill it. Please make it a willing lamb. And what I witnessed that day was a lamb come to me. Okay? Knowing, as a matter of fact, he woke me up in the middle of the night. It was a full moon. It was just about full. And it was like this whole Narnia kind of experience in the fall with our flowers. It was just, I'll never forget this moment I had. He wakes me up and tells me to go look at the moon. And I go down there and the lamb's outside. See, I was supposed to be spending time with it too. I didn't know what to do. I was just listening and doing. But he wanted me to spend time with the lamb. So I go down there and I look at this lamb and next to the moonlight and trees and yellow leaves and things. And I said, I have to kill you. And I hear back in the spirit, I know. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. Did the lamb just talk to me and console me for killing it? I thought, oh my gosh. Well, that lamb changed that day. And he literally did come up to me. And I had to slaughter it. I've got a video too. And when I did, it it changed our lives. He actually came to me like I asked. And he was at peace. And I slaughtered him. And I saw the Holy Spirit go into it. And I thought, what just happened? What did I just do? What was this? And so I let it go. And I couldn't even tell anybody about this because I thought this is going to be, oh my God, that's crazy. Oh gosh, I'm hurting now. This is crazy. I'm not telling anybody. Well, I thought that was it. He wasn't going to have me do it again. The next year, sure enough, there you go. You can do my Passover Lamb? My Paschal Lamb? Of course, I have to say, okay, again. But this was even closer. This lamb was even closer to me. And every year, and on the third year, and I finally told people about it, but in the third year, he said, what you see is true. My spirit does go into it too. I said, what? Am I killing you? Am I killing you? Am I killing you? He said, yes, this is true. You see, I was always the Paschal Lamb. My spirit entered into them. In Egypt, in every sacrifice that was done properly, if it was done with love, it was me. I said, oh, Yeshua, how can it be? How can I have to kill you who died for me? He says the law has to be paid. And I got to tell you this part too. There's so many miracles that have happened around these things. What this part? What did he say? He woke me up one day and he says to me, you know how I said those who have no sin cast their first stone? I said, yes, Abba. But who has no sin? And then I thought, but those you've chosen to forgive. It just as a thought. This is how we talk in my head. And he says, exactly. So cast your stone. I said, what? He says, you have to cast your stone. Next thing you know, I see a vision of the woman being circled by the religious, ready to cast their stone at this adulterous woman. And I see her there in distress too. I'm like, Abba, what are you going to do? And Yeshua was there. And he drew a line in the sand. And he says, I'm going to pay the price for that adulterous woman. I'm going to buy her with my life. So next thing you know, I see her take out. I see him take her out and say, I'm going to pay the price. Cast your stone at me. And I said, what? And I immediately knew that was me. I was the adulterous woman too. That was me with my religious things and my Jesus stuff that I did, and kissing the idolatries and having those things and all the Christianity stuff that were lies that I did. I believe in Yeshua, but not this fake Jesus that the Illuminati has given us. It actually talks about in the letter to Mazzini from Albert Pike in 1876, I think it was, that says, it says that they will say that in the end that Jesus was Lucifer. And it's the one, this fake Jesus that all you have to do is say a sinner's prayer and you're saved, and Christmas and pagan things, and they don't follow his laws. He doesn't know them. That's what it says. He says, go away from me, I never knew you, you workers of lawlessness. You didn't keep my laws too. You don't know me, I don't know you. If you say that you love me, you don't keep my commandments, you're a liar and the truth isn't in you. So which commandment did he say to change? Which commandment did he say? Oh, he said, I fulfilled it, Hakayim, which means just to bring it to fullness, not to get rid of it. He said, heaven and earth are going to pass away first. I didn't come to change a dot or tittle of the law. So why are you guys going against the law? So let me explain to you why the verses that you write to me and many do, that he doesn't want sacrifices, he doesn't delight in sacrifices. Well, let me ask you a question. If you had to go and die for your bride all the time, just to show the sign of what you're willing to do, and that you're willing for her to eat your meat too, would you take delight in it? Would you say, hey, yay, I get to die in so many ways? And so what he shared with me, knowing that I saw the Spirit go into it, because there's a certain point of time in the 4 days that you have the Lamb, that if you have love in you, you have the Spirit in you, the Lamb is going to come and breathe your breath too. And it's going to test you. I've known this every year. It's like the Lamb is testing me whether I'm approved or not to do this sacrifice. And when it tests me and there's a breath interaction, that's what you saw on Mount of Olives too, actually. That's why he wanted me doing it, giving me 15-minute notice to do such a thing. I had to have that Lamb love me within the amount of time that was there, that I had to do this thing. And it did. And that's why it says, but he shed his blood up there. What I'm trying to say is, there's a reason why in Revelation, he is an image of a slain lamb. Because what I know is the spirit of love. And it says there's no greater love than to lay your life down for a friend. That spirit of love is what is in these animals. When the right priest does these things, it's literally Yeshua spirit that enters in and sheds his blood for love. Let me go back to what I was saying. Sorry, I'm all over the place, I know. So with this vision that I see, he's telling me I have to cast my stone at thee. I have to cast my stone at him. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. There's no way, that's my sin. You're paying for my sin. He says, yes, I am. But it must be done. And this is what love will do. Because I made a law that goes against you. And because of this, I have to show you that I love you so much. This is a story of Hosea too, that I'm willing to give everything I have, die for you, shed my blood for you, just to buy you back because I love you. This is buying Hosea's wife Gomer back, because he had to die to marry what he divorced, which is what he did to the northern 10 tribes, which is the fullness of Ephraim. And that's who he told me that when I did that, I was a covenant. I said I was the leader of Ephraim. I was the king of the north kind of thing, or priest, or I don't know what I wrote, but something to that effect. He told me what to write, and I did. So I go, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. And I have this stone in my hand, and there he is. And nobody else is willing, because he said, those who have no sin cast the first stone. Nobody's willing to stone him, and it's just me, kind of thing. And he's like, throw it at me. I'm like, I can't. He's like, you have to, for us to be together too. So I go, and I take, like, I'm going to throw this stone at him. Because it's basically up to me to kill him. For my own sin. I know this is crazy stuff, but you know what? In the different levels of the scriptures, you will see that this is all true. It's just very deep levels too. And unfortunately, I get all the Bible scholars that go after me that they think they know something and they don't. And now people are leaving Yeshua altogether and going into Judaism, which is a bad thing too. But anyway, I go to throw this stone at him, and all I can do is run towards him and cast myself on top of him. That was it. I couldn't. I was the stone. I became the stone. I was like, I'm not going to stone you. I'm going to die with you. I can't do this. And he says to me, he goes, and that's how I'm going to build. That's how I'm going to build my temple. I am the cornerstone, the rejected stone. And he says, one by one, they will be willing to die with me. And that's what I did. I threw my stone at him. I'm like, if my stone is going to kill you, may it kill me too. Because I love you. And when I did, right after the sacrifice, one of the newscasters, the news person asked me, he goes, how do we build this temple then? How are we building the temple? How do you see it coming, kind of thing? And it was an interesting question. And so I said, yes. I said, we just did it. He's like, I don't know. And I pointed to one of the stones that we were up there on the mountain, Mount of Olives. I go, see those stones, they're all building blocks. I go, that's what we're doing. We're putting the stones together to build this thing. And here there was a covenant between Christians and Jews. This is what I saw in another dream too, actually. Oh, and I have to tell you guys, you're judging what you don't understand too. Because these are good people that I met there. They're not the Kabbalists, the Cabal that you think that they are. They're not organized like these secret Jews. They actually went against the false prophet and the Antichrist that God showed me in the 80s. They took him to court, Obama and the Pope, and found them guilty. Okay? This isn't the evil synagogue of Satan people that created the wealth of the world. This is godly people wanting to bring the kingdom. And they're doing all they can, and they're giving their gifts, whatever it is. They created a Sanhedrin. Well, guess what? The Sanhedrin had to be created first. This is Talmud stuff too, but this is prophecy. Don't think that because it's in the Talmud, it's evil. It's prophecy. It's just like let's put all the writings of Christianity all into one book. And, there's good and evil in there, of course. But the prophecy was that Eliyahu would make himself known to the Sanhedrin first. And that's what I did, because they created something, and it was binding and legal. And I thought, when he told me I was going to be making a sacrifice in Israel, and I'm like, that's illegal. The police collected the blood. So yes, that did. But the prayer that came from the Father was that he would cleanse the land, because that was his will, to cleanse the land and to bring his children home. And when I slaughtered that thing with that special kosher knife, so that lamb loved me. And even the man, Hillel Weiss, Rabbi Hillel Weiss, or Dr. Hillel Weiss, said to me he's never seen a sacrifice like that. And it was basically, the lamb gave itself to me. You see, in his love, it's actually an honor, huge honor, for the lamb to give itself to you. And when you eat it, the lamb becomes a man too. You see? So it's a huge sacrifice. And so when the spirit of love, now get this. So everything is to create something here, okay? Every angel, everything is part of him. It's an expression of him. But the expression of his love, of the Father's love, came through Yeshua. And so he had to shed his blood, shed his spirit, shed his life to show that he loves us. And that's what he does. So no, he doesn't delight in it, but he does afterwards. Do you think he wanted to go on the cross? He doesn't delight. He's like, you think I like you to going on the cross for you? But he's like, I'll do what I have to do to be one with you. I'll do what I have to do to show you that I love you. When he took Abraham and Isaac up the mountain, he was testing his love for Isaac, but he's calling for a sacrifice. Why was that? Just to prove that we love him. So he made me do this thing. And I got judged by the world too. All of Christianity, Bible scholars, oh my gosh. Oh, that man, pigeon shits on you. And he literally is an authority. He translated the Bible, and he's so dense that he doesn't he called me the abomination of desolation. I'm not sure if you did too, but he did. And he got judgments for that. And so that's what Abba says, the whole reason why it was to begin the judgments. And it starts with the leaders of the church, because those that judge me unrighteously got judged too. And I have all their crowns. But don't worry, I'm supposed to. It's supposed to be this way. Those that go against me, it's a law of vibration. If you're a higher fire in love with him, it's basically that fire burns off every lower vibration and it takes it within. It becomes that vibration. It eats it. Does that make sense? That's the law of vibration. It's what he's showed me for years. So I have a right to people's crowns that go against me. But don't worry, I'm not a bad man. I love him. And I will put you in your place because of love, because this temple needs to be built. And it's built like this. So there's a reason why the sacrifices were done and why they're holy sacrifices and why he put demons into pigs. And all, Christianity thinks it's okay to eat bacon now because, Jesus made it holy. Cursed be them. And then they're making fun of the homosexuals. I'm like, he calls you the same thing as he does the homosexuals. Why do you think you're better? And why are you judging with the law outside of your court when you're supposed to be judging within your court and you're doing an abomination too? So don't be judging, lest you be judged too. So anyway, that's what I do. He has me judge what I don't know. I'm disabled many times over, and it's hard for me to read. It always was. I flunked out of school. I don't even have a high school diploma. But I'm a prophet, and he speaks to me. And he always proves what I say and do to be true. I mean, come on. He prepared me for a long time to go up there. He kept telling me I was going to be doing this, and that was one of my biggest fears. And I said, if you want me doing something like that, you're going to have to be there and even speak. Well, I did. I got to say the son's name. I got to say the father's name, which they would kill you for before. And yes, it did cause COVID. Well, I didn't cause COVID. The evil did. They created it, but all under Abba's specifications. Separate the sheep with the goats, the wheat and the chaff. He's separating and collecting the fruit of what he created here on this earth. And what he created with the fruit was basically those that would love him, because the whole of creation, all the stars, everything was to find a bride for his son so that he can experience love between the two. He literally is in bed with us too. I'm telling you, that's what he wants is love. And that's what it was all about, a marriage to take place between his people so that he can indwell us too. So please, brother, I do believe you judged me unrighteously, but because you love him, that's why, that's the test. I'm seeking the heart. I don't care if you said right or wrong or whatever. He doesn't have me judged that way. The twisted stick that he gave me was unkosher law. I mean, it was basically the law was twisted a little bit. And he says, I'm going to be judging with man's twisted laws, with their twisted laws. So everybody gets judged by their judgments too. There is proof, there's scripture about the third temple. It has to be built. The third temple, and also that there's going to be sacrifices that he'll be pleased again with. Okay, he doesn't delight in doing them, but he's pleased that he can give himself to us and be one with us. And so it becomes very special lambs, let's just say. To eat the Passover Lamb, so powerful, I can't tell you. I'm sharing with you, and I'm sharing with you fire and light that you could try to turn against me too. But I want you to know, I love you because I know you love him. That's all. But how many people are going to be doing killing people and doing all these things, thinking they're doing God's will? I'm trying to tell you that the law is perfect. And we were never supposed to stop doing it. The whole reason Yeshua came was for the lost sheep of Israel to bring us back home again, to become one law, one people, two sticks, one. And that's what he's been teaching me, and that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm literally supposed to be that priest to bring the Jew and the Gentile together too. And he wants us doing the Passover lambs. I'm going to ask everybody that can to do a Passover lamb during this Passover. And if they can do it in the Aleph over America, it'll ground him here and it'll buy time for the Exodus, because America's under judgment. And we just need to come out of her so that we don't partake with the rest of it. And that's what he's doing. He's telling us to come out of her and to go up to the mountains and praise him. And that's what I'm going to try to do. Anyway, that's what I know to be true. There are good Jews and bad Jews over there. And so just to let you know, when I cut the lamb, he shared with me, it was all black head, all white body. The black head was the Jew. The white body was the Shekinah side, the one coming with the spirit. But we need spirit and truth. And so when I cut the lamb's head, it went all the way back to the spine. And I'm like, Father, oh my gosh, that kosher knife was so sharp. I thought it wasn't cutting at first because it was the hair, and I went a couple times, and I went all the way back to the neck. Not a bad thing, he tells me, but he shared with me that's what he's doing to Jerusalem. He's going to take it down to the tithe. And what he's going to do is going to leave only those that connect, head and body too. That's what's going to happen in the end. So there's going to be a lot of death, a lot of bloodshed all over. This is world war. It's all for the control. And Abba is in control. The king is in control in the end. Actually, we'll see how that works out, because he tells me a lot of things that blow me away. Anyway, I hope you understand. If you could take the whole Bible down to love, the way you love God, and Christianity is kind of like, oh, you got just love. You got to love your neighbor as yourself. I say, well, how do you love God? Well, you love your neighbor. But how do you love God? He tells us how to, actually. He gave it to us in the Torah. When he gave us the commandments, he said, those that show that they love me, those that love me will keep my commandments. If you say that you know me and don't keep my commandments, you're a liar and the truth isn't in you. So what commandments do we keep? Do we pick and choose? Actually, there's proof in the King James Bible. They actually took out this verse that says that the sons will be going back to the Torah, and it's going to bless us and keep us from the evil, basically. And that's what we're supposed to do. They're supposed to be 10 to the code of a Jew. There's good Jews there and bad ones too. And that's what I do. When I'm there, I literally judge every Jew I come across. He judges through me, not me. And he tells me, that's the Jew. That's not a Jew. He's an evil. He's a synagogue of Satan Jew. Kind of Jew. So that's what's happening. Everybody's mixed, including us. We have mixture in ourselves, truth and untruth. But we're learning. Anyway, no. He does want sacrifices. Yes, because of these things happening, the Obama is going to take his seat and go into the temple and try to pervert it. But we're going to make it holy again. Don't worry. But the sacrifices are starting again. Passover is actually, there's a verse that was taken out too. It was put in, but it's shown, because Abba showed this to me and told me that, and then it was found. But the Passover is going to be a remembrance. It's not a remembrance of Yeshua back then. It's going to be a remembrance of us coming out of the nations. He's telling us to go out in the desert and do a Passover lamb. That's what he's telling me to tell everybody now for this Passover. And that's what's going to make the Jews jealous. And they're going to see Yeshua and the lamb. And then they're going to be crying in the streets and understanding that he was here fulfilling all the holy days. Because, when it says it's a shadow of things to come, there was a shadow, and then I got stupid pastors. Shannon, Jesus did it all. Well, of course he did. But we have to do our part too. We have to show up for the wedding, don't we? Don't you? Oh my goodness, it just upsets me how. Well, it upsets me that ignorant people are guiding the world, and so I get to bless and curse. Yeah, you got it too, but it was out of love. I hope you know. Everybody that goes against me, this happens now. That was the reason for it. It says that the leaders, the church gets judged first. Well, that's what happened. They were judging me as evil for talking about lights and things and our aura, because it's true. But they don't have lights. They have no clue. The menorah is me and you. But do they have oil? Hell no. They have a menorah that has writing on it, and they go, oh, look how great my menorah is. Look at, I could do it. But do they have the spirit? Do they have the oil in it? Are they going to make it? Well, I'm here trying to get that love to flow through everybody and let him live inside of us. And that's what he's doing with me. This isn't me. My whole family, everybody that knows who I am, knows this is so not like me, what I do. Bringing judgments to people too. Who are you? But it's him and me, not me. I just let him have control. And he speaks in tongues that I don't know. He just speaks through me and does things. So, the Messiah, the reason why he's as a slain lamb in Revelation is because he always was the lamb. His spirit enters the lamb, and that's whose blood is shed on the earth, and that's whose meat we eat. And that's a way for him to be with us, because he's spirit. And when you have the spirit of love, which is the Messiah's spirit, because there's no greater love than to lay your life down for a friend. So I can tell you that every single lamb that I've sacrificed was a willing lamb. And the first one even told me. But the other ones, oh, it's so clear. I've got videos to show you if you want to see. They're miracles. The first one, you wouldn't believe the miracle that happened with that one. Anyway, there's something. Well, I'll tell you real quick, and then I'll let you guys go, because it's 30 minutes already. And I wasn't supposed to talk this long. The first lamb, my son asked me if he can have, he put his hand on the horn. It was the left horn. And he asked if he can have the horn. And I said, son, he was a little kid then, little Nico. I said, son, we can't. We have to burn everything by the morning. And so when it came time, I mean, we kashrooted this lamb. I don't think we were supposed to, actually. But we did it in salt and water and all these things. And so all this stuff was wet and all these things when we were done with the dinner, which was a whole lamb for 4 of us. And then a friend came over, Rodney came over, and he had a little bit too. But basically, so let's say 5 people. And I couldn't eat very much because I don't have a stomach. So the rest of the lamb had to be burnt. It's a burnt offering too. I mean, anyway. I go to put the lamb, it's after dinner, and it has to be burned by morning, and I'm so tired because, well, I've been through hell and back with this, him wanting me to slaughter this lamb. I mean, it destroyed my whole family. It taught us such lessons. We saw him in the lamb like you wouldn't believe. It just blew us away how blessed we were by doing this. And I thought nobody was going to eat the lamb. The lamb was so good, they couldn't stop eating it. It was like amazing. And we became happy. We started dancing around the table. It was kind of crazy. This is my family together. When Rodney came, we were dancing. So, the lamb, what was I going to say? Oh, so I knew I had to burn this by morning. All I had was this little, this barbecue that wasn't, anyway. So I'm sitting there looking at it. I put all the lamb parts and everything on the charcoal. It was all the charcoal I had left. And I put it on there, and all it was doing was smoking. And I'm like, this is going to go out in 10 minutes. This isn't going to burn. This isn't enough charcoal to burn the lamb, especially wet fur and wet things. It was wet. The whole stomach was there too. It was wet. Water and wheat and all that. And I'm sitting in, which is our holy room. I'm looking out at this thing, and I'm like, how am I going to burn this? What am I going to put on this to burn it by morning? I've got to go to bed. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And I hear, don't worry, I got this. And I laughed. I'm like, is that you? Do you talk like that? You say, I got this? He's like, yeah, you provide the sacrifice. I'll provide the fire. Don't worry about it. Go to bed. And I said, but it looks like it's going to go. He says, don't worry about it. I will burn the lamb. And so I do. I go to bed, and by then we're just destroyed. I mean, we were supposed to do church the next day. We went and left again. I'm like, I can't even be here. We were all destroyed. Even the dog ate the lamb. She was destroyed. We were all just crying and bawling the next day. We were just in a state of, yeah. Anyway, where was I? I get up in the morning, and I see it's still smoldering, almost like it was before. It wasn't all burnt by then. So I'm like, what's going on here? What am I supposed to do? He's like, don't worry about it. But it was going up like a pillar of smoke. It was going straight up as a pillar. I mean, we're not even supposed to have fires really where I'm at in the neighborhood, and it smelled like burning lamb all over the neighborhood, and it wasn't necessarily a good smell too, because there was the bowels were in there, and I thought maybe I need to clean the bowels out or whatever. Anyway, it burned. And do you know that burned with like a pillar straight up for 3 days and 3 nights? And at the end, if I tell you what was left, it's almost, I still don't understand. It burned everything. Even the bones were burned. They were dust. Everything was burned. You know what was left? The left horn. The only thing that didn't burn of the lamb was the left horn. Even the bone inside the left horn burned. It was all dust, ashes. The whole thing was ashes. I didn't know how. It has to get very hot to burn the bones. That's how hot he made it. But it was like, it was a signal up there. And I thought, oh my God, he left the left horn. Then I find out later by a Jew. It tells me it was an old priest thing, that if God left the left horn, that he was pleased with the sacrifice, or that he was very pleased, and that he was blessing the priest. I'm like, oh my God, and I think the dog got the bone for, the thing for a minute. So we have it still. And it changed our life. All of that. Listen and do, and he'll guide us too. If he's not asking you to make a sacrifice, don't. But if you're being asked to be a judge, then judge. But just know that the judges get judged first. So I get to judge my judges too. It's only holy, it's only right. It's his kingdom coming down. So please, try to understand his kingdom and why the sacrifices are there. And yeah, everybody said I would piss off Jesus. Well, no, I didn't at all. Actually, he came to live with us more and more every time. I mean, the lessons that we learned, and we respected meat. Meat doesn't come very easily. It's a life that sheds blood. So it's blessed us every year. And I think I've done 9 now. 9 sacrifices. And each one has a purpose. So 2019 Paschal sacrifice, my wife named Keter, which is Corona. And it was black with white tip of the tail and white tip of the head. He was nicknamed Trump, actually. And I said, Father, why this black lamb? He's beautiful. He was one of our favorites, actually. He was so after Ephraim. There's a lot of funny things with that lamb. I said, why black and why this? He goes, because the judgments are coming. It's time for judgments. But he says, I'm going to make the tail the head and the head the tail. That's why you see the white. And I said, oh, little did I know that same year I would be doing the sacrifice for the 70 nations and the Sanhedrin thing. But there you go. Then COVID hit. And you kind of said, I caused it. Well, what does Eliyahu do? Anyway, I kind of thought it was ridiculous what you were saying. But I was like, well, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, I see. I was here to bring judgments anyway. That's what I'm supposed to do. Why do you think they're going to be making merry and giving each other gifts too, like Christmas, when Obama kills me? Anyway, it is what it is. I'll do what he wants me to do. I'm okay with it too. Anyway, I love you. I do. I'm very angry with you before, because you were going against what he was doing and totally from a different angle of not understanding. You have knowledge, but it's a different knowing in him, in the spirit. And he's the one that teaches. I can prove everything I'm saying in the scriptures. He always proves what he gives me. I don't read the scriptures. You want to know why? Because it freaks me out. It's too deep for me. It gives me so much revelation that it's like, oh my God, it's too much. And so I still live on what he fed me the last time he gave me the scripture. So what he does is teaches me things. And he uses the scripture only to prove to me what he's telling me is true. So I've got a witness or two. Whether I have one in the world, I have it in the book. So that's how he works with me. I don't come from a place of knowing the scriptures, which the whole world, and that creates kind of a pride. It's actually the leaven of the Pharisees. The new leaven is the leaven of knowing him and being pride and boastful and knowing him. And that's it. I don't have any pride in myself. I'm a fool, and the world knows it, but I know him, and he knows me, and he uses me to do his will. So I let him, because I love him. And we're all supposed to be houses of his spirit. So there you go. That wasn't supposed to be this long, but this is about as long as I can talk, and then I'm done. And there are 38 minutes. Shalom, shalom. 39. Shalom. Shalom Aleichem. May you feel his presence, and may you discern what I'm saying, if it's true or not. May God discern these things. But please understand, there are purposes for everything. And I'm not a bad, evil guy like the world thinks. Anyway, I'm Eliyahu. This I know to be true. He showed it to me in every way possible that I could see. Anyway, shalom, shalom.